Hello, Jonathan.
Good evening and welcome everyone to our opening round here in the USAC 1978 Championship, and as you will have heard, I am joined in the booth tonight by Richard Wilks. Good evening, Richard.
Good evening, Jonathan. I'm sorry for the mishap of my timing, but hello, everyone.
That is certainly not a problem. I'm very happy to have you here, and I'm sure everyone else watching is very happy for you to be here as well. We are obviously looking at the 1978 National Championship, the USAC 78 Championship as we are deciding to calling it here, and the Jimmy Bryan 150 from Phoenix International Raceway. The track which saw the end of our 1974 championship last year, and where we are now back once again to open up the championship. And certainly a very tricky tri-oval, or what would you say, Richard? I know you've driven it, I believe, once before.
Yeah, well, I've driven it in the last race last year, and I've driven quite a few times before. It is a tricky track. It's very fast for a small oval, but you're always cornering, and it's very tight. There will be lots of action here. And fortunately for the people, Alberto Ibanez did a very nice new version of this track, much more accurate, that will at least help the drivers, because that means there's not that awful bump after the first corner anymore. But still, it will be a very, very exciting race.
Certainly, and we're very thankful to all our modders who put in work, both to make the tracks such as this Phoenix International Raceway, which we will be seeing shortly, and obviously this USAC 78 mod, which will provide some really good action, I believe. And we could have a quick look at some of the ins and outs of this 1978 Champ Cars Championship, with 18 rounds in this year's championship, 15 of them on ovals, and then for the first time, I believe, in USAC history at the time, 3 on road courses, and those obviously being Silverstone, Brands Hatch, and the third, which I can never remember.
Mosport.
Mosport, thank you very much, Richard. Mosport, which, being in Canada, I believe would be the third ever venue that the series visited in Canada at that point in time. Possibly second.
Possibly second. I'm not sure about that one, actually.
But it's at least it's a very much a roller coaster ride, that track, which will be very interesting to watch these cars going around there. Obviously, these cars are open wheel winged monocoques, carrying power plants of 2600 cc or 2.6 liters if you're of that way of reading such figures, turbocharged engines with up to 900 brake horsepowers in qualifying trim, so quite a handful. And also featuring, as always, our annual Indy 500.
That's true. We have another full championship, and it's going to have all sorts of tracks, like you just explained. It's going to be very exciting.
Certainly will, and there will be another bit of excitement as well during the races, because we will be having some fuel regulation limits. And for this 150-mile race that this Jimmy Bryan 150 is, the drivers will be allotted 2 full tanks of fuel for the race, which will equal to 302 liters, or give or take about 80 gallons. And with the rules being as they are, if drivers are found to be violating this fuel limit, they will be disqualified post-race by the always feared USAC man. And just to also keep you up to date on how the points will work out for this 150-mile race that opens up this championship, there is a slight difference in how the points are awarded in this 1978 championship compared to the 1974 one, where here up until, well, all finishers actually score at least some kind of points. The winner, as usual, for 150 miles takes 300 points home with him or her, and then there will be awarded 240 for second, 210 for third, 180 for fourth, 150 for fifth, 120 for sixth, 90 for seventh, 75 for eighth, 60 for ninth, 45 for 10th, 30 for 11th, and 15 for 12th. And then there's a slight dip again, where 13th to 16th placed drivers score 8 points, 17th to 20th score 6, 21st to 24th score 5th, and 25 to 28th score 3rd, 3 points, and 29 and above score 2 points. So the least points anyone will be scoring tonight is 3 points, because we have 27 cars on the grid for this opening event.
Well, that seemed very, very hard to say, Jonathan. Congratulations on going through all that list of points. Yes, USAC, as these American racing series were, has a very complicated and convoluted point system. The good thing is that indeed everybody scores points. The bad thing is that it's very hard to tell on the fly about the championship situation because it's complicated, always.
Indeed, indeed. And that's one of the good things, because I don't do the calculations, so at least I can't get it wrong. Hopefully, anyway. I think we'll have a quick look at the keys to the race before we head to the track and have one or two onboard laps here. But Jason White has been kind enough to provide keys for the race for this event as well. And there's 3 main pieces of things we need to remember, and that is
user in your channel timed out.
First one, remember that there are a few newcomers on the track. Give them extra room and extra patience, so don't rush through there like a complete maniac, because they may not have seen you, may not have been prepared for you to turn up as quickly as you have. Second one is set up your car to be even handling in traffic, so not tight nor loose, somewhere in the middle where it's nice and easy in all sections of the race. And as is the way with these 78 cars, fast is the same as being smooth. So if you see someone throwing the cars about, they probably aren't going as fast as those who just glide through the corners as if nothing is happening to them at all. And unfortunately I noticed Richard dropped here, but hopefully he'll be back momentarily. In the meantime, let's go out on track and hopefully get some action going.
User joined your channel.
So I'm just going to quickly have a look and prepare so that we're actually out on track with someone as we join. I believe qualifying has just finished and we are in warm-up. Well, actually, we can go, go to that camera instead, I think.
Sorry for that, my internet connection is having some blues.
That is perfectly fine, mate. That's just one of those things. As you can see here, the track in all its beauty, as I make a bit of a hash of that. There we go. So, obviously, a slightly updated track, still with the mountain in the background, where people back in the day would be standing and watching. Are we already going?
No, the weekend was restarted for some reason.
Ah. Okay.
Ah, yes. Okay, because David Jakes could not take part.
Oh, okay. That's a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, so the admins decided to let him run his qualifying run, just himself, and then they're gonna slot him into the grid with everybody else.
Ah, okay. That's very thoughtful and very quick thinking there. Let's see if we can actually find him out here somewhere. There he is, just waiting for the green light, so let's actually jump on board with him. And his Patrick Racing, as I just get out my little sheet here, and his Wildcat chassis with an SGD engine.
Yes, it's going.
As we can see here, heading out to the pits, and that's one of the changes that, or updates that was made. An in-track pit exit, still the dog leg, but I believe a little bit smoother than it was in the previous version, and into the final turn of the track. A lot of grey up high. You really need to be careful because the turn tightens towards the pit straight, which can cause a lot of issues into turn 1. As it opens here onto where the outside layer track road course rejoins through the dogleg and into 3 and 4. As we can see, there are a lot of guys having trouble off that turn 4 corner. That looks like a pretty decent first hot lap there for David. He's looking to be going in faster. But I must say, Alberto has done a masterstroke on this track. This is looking really, really nice. As David blasts in a 24.6, that's about a tenth of the best time I saw in practice before qualifying, so right up there, as usual, is David Yates.
Yeah, considering it was on him, because we are all watching him, I think he did a pretty good job.
Very much so, and if I... so I'm getting a little bit sidetracked here, but if I pan the camera around here, we can actually see, or we could see, part of the road course that goes off into the distance there. I'm a bit unsure if you can drive the whole thing, but knowing Alberto and the rest of the team, I wouldn't be surprised if people can drive that layout if they so would want. Seeing as we have a little bit of a moment here, about 10 minutes to have a look at it, let's actually see if we can find... here we have Alberto Ibanez's car, so let's actually get a good camera angle, something like that maybe. I'll just quickly on my end get up my other sheet, so to speak. Oh, I forgot the Panelli and all of that. Ooh. So that's Alberto Ibanez car, that's a Penske PC6. There are 2 of those in the field here tonight, all of them running Cosworth engines. The PC6 was a newly designed and constructed in England. Very quick and balanced car. A solid oval car that would challenge for victory in any track, exclusive to the Penske team.
Ooh. Oh.
And the drivers having their hands on the PC6 is Adam Hackman and Jason White. Sorry, did I get that wrong then? I did.
Yes, I think Alberto is driving for the All-American races, and I believe in this race he has a Lightning.
Indeed, I was looking. The color scheme was messing me up. Thank you for setting me straight. So Lightning Mark 1 we are looking at instead. That is still a Cosworth powered car. There are 4 of those Lightnings in the field or on the track tonight. It's a decent and uncomplicated car. It was the customer car of choice for most private or mid-funded teams. Its pace may vary depending on the engine equipped, but overall a balanced and simple car that can pay dividends over a whole season. So one of those cars that will probably be in the teens or high tens in finishing order, and may challenge for the championship overall because of their consistency rather than outright pace. And the drivers having their hands on such machinery is Ibanez and Yareb, both in Cosworth-powered Lightnings. And we also have Martin Lacina making a comeback here at ISO, and Thiago Canola, both of those running Offenhauser engines in their Lightnings. Let's see who else we have here. We have Jon Team in a one-off entry for Grand King Agayanian. That's a Kingfish with an Offenhauser engine in the back. To quickly give the... we'll go through the engines later on, I think. Probably during the race, actually. The Kingfish is one of the old models pressed into or kept in service with different updates and modifications by the most underfunded teams. One could have been misled into believing it was, as in sport cars, a different class in the races than the top cars. Nevertheless, the abundance of these older cars meant they were never alone in the track and always fighting each other for points. So generally speaking, that would be the older cars from 72 and onwards, where they were updated but still somewhat on the pace, but not quite on the pace of the quicker cars. Bryan Yannick with a shovel-nosed car there. I believe that is one of the one-offs for this race. That is one of the Wildcats, as is the one David Yates is driving, and Jacob Fredriksson. All of them running SGD power plants. The Wildcat is a car that Pat Patrick hired Bob Riley to design for him, and the result were the different iterations of the Wildcat. The Mark II started on the shovel nose theme used by Riley in the early 70s and handled quite well. The shovel nose we also saw on the Toyota in the 74 championship, actually. The Mark III and 4, which we will see later in the championship, was an effort to couple a conventional front and wing on the previous model, all the rest being the same, but it did not result in any gains. And the Mark IV specifically adapted a new version of the Drake V8, which, from what I can understand, was not quite the success they would have hoped for. I believe that is one of the... that is the only actually Lola T500 in the field. And the Lola T500
that is correct, yes.
was fielded only by Chaparral Racing, directed by Jim Hall. The car was planted, but not as quick as the top ones. Al Unser pushed it to higher results than deserved and clinched the Triple Crown with it, displaying an unexpected reliability at 500-mile races that completely missed at the shorter tracks, where the car was plagued by failures. And that car specifically is powered by the high-revving, high-sounding Cosworth DFX, I believe, DFX V8. You see Ryan Walker there, one of the sort of newcomers. He was with us earlier, but has not done much oval racing. I believe this is the second event he's partaken in at ISO, or an early iteration. He is driving one of the McLarens. I believe that is one of the older cars, so that would be the M16C for him, which I believe would be an Offenhausen power plant in the back of it. That's one of the older models of cars. One of these we also obviously saw at the 74 championship. David Saver is in one of the newer McLarens, the M24, powered by a Cosworth engine. The McLaren M24 was another F1 design adapted to racing in the States, resulting in a more agile ride than the dedicated oval races. Rutherford had a lackluster season in the factory ride due to reliability issues, but the car had potential for victories. Customer cars were fielded by Jerry O'Connell and Dayton Walter, and the I believe customer cars that they are talking about is the one for Schurer and for Lavach and Walker. Possibly Schurer actually also in the Works McLaren now, but Lavach and Walker is also in the McLarens. Lavach running the M16E iteration of the M16. See, August Watering is another newcomer here at ISO. I believe he is from Indiana over in the States, so nice to have him along for the ride. And he is in one of the Watsons with an Offenhauser power plant in the back. Let me quickly find it in the list. The Watson 77 was a clone copy of the Lightning Mark I, but with a custom rear wing with extended side plates. The Watson 78, a new design with the same rear wing, but not improving the performance. That was in 77, 78, so this is the... I don't know, I'd assume that's the 77 he's running at the moment. A midfield car that feels nervous and agile, which should be helpful in short tracks and road courses. So that could be one of the reasons why he's doing quite well here. And obviously also being good at ovals. There's Dana Schurer in her McLaren M24. Let's see, Mikey Grems we have driving a Eagle 74, I believe that is for him, with an Offenhauser power plant in the back. The 74 we obviously saw in 1974 as the new and improved car for that year. There's Thiago Canola in the... if I can find him in my list here, in the Lightning Mark I, that obviously Offenhauser powered. And there's Hackman's Penske. And there's Jason White in one of the PC6s. Let's actually have a look at that now that we actually have it going here. So PC6, as I mentioned, was a newly designed and constructed in England, very quick and exclusive for the Penske team. That is a Cosworth-powered car. Alberto Equino, I believe I don't have in my list. Richard, would you know what car he's driving?
Little Al is driving the Parnelli.
Ah, the Parnelli. That's the one I didn't have in my list at all. So the Parnelli VPA6. An updated one from what they had in 1974. A reconverted Formula 1 design, it was blistering quick, but much more nervous. The car to have in road courses while still a preference in superspeedways, provided the driver's reflexes can cope with it. The car was fielded by Interscope Racing, born from the ashes of the Wells Parnelli Jones team. But later AJ Foyt acquired one and was ecstatic about its performance in the 3 races it took part in. I believe that is all we have time to look at the moment, but that's there's the Coyote for Schlapinski on top once again. Very impressive from him to be on top in this practice session. There's Juha Bors, and he is driving one of the... he is driving the PC5, the Penske PC5, a slightly older model, still very quick indeed. As we are now just waiting for everyone to head out on the grid for us to get started, and the rest of the chassis and engines I will try to go through as well as I can, as we have either yellows or some calm moments in the action. So Alberto Quino actually took pole position in the Parnelli. That's very impressive indeed. So Alberto Quino takes pole position. Adam Hackman lines up second for Penske, with Thiago Canola third for Alex Morales Racing, one of the one of the Lightnings. Mikey Grem's fourth, another newcomer from Syracuse, New York State for Tibon Gelhausen. He is in one of the Eagles 74s. Jason White lines up fifth for Penske, with Juha Boos sixth in the PC5 Penske, I believe. At least that's the car he's lined up for in my list here. Schlapinski in the Coyote, with Jakob Ferguson 8th for Pat Patrick in the Wildcat. David Yates, his teammate, lines up 9th, with Jon Team 10th for in the Kingfish. Alberto Ibanez 11th for All American Races and the Lightning. Lacina 12th, with Shure 13th, David Saber 14th, August Watering 15th, White is 16th, Ridol 17th, Jareb 18th, Yannick 19th, Rocha, another newcomer, in 20th, Fitch 21st, Hlavac 22nd, Chacon 23rd, Bouchard 24th, Aniel May, and the Volstead 26th. And that's all our starters as the green flag is out and we are underway. It looks like a slow start for Equino, as he has already dropped down to about 5th or 6th position. Hackman takes the lead.
A clean start from everyone.
Which is very nice to see indeed.
Oh, I spoke too soon. Big crash at turn 3.
Oh dear me, we can see it in the background there. I can't quite see it. I think that's one of the Coyotes. Is that Schlapinski involved?
John Tim seems to be out. Angel May seems to be out. And Jason Fitch.
Chacon was the one involved. Fitch indeed just made it into the pits in the AMC powered car. Jon Team with a badly battered car. Chacon trying to go around. Walker, I believe, was the only one to survive that and come out the other side. Let's actually go back and see if we can find out what happened. As the yellow is out, so the race is neutralized. So we can jump on board with Ryan here and see what happened. Not entirely sure we will, but we can certainly give it a try. So coming through the dog leg, he's right behind Bouchard. It looks like someone lost it on the entry. That looks like... was that Fitch, I believe, who lost it on the entry and collected Jon Team and Rocha, and possibly in behind there also Aniel May, unfortunately. So quite a few involved in that one. So it looks like Jon Team is still in the pits for repairs. Jason Fitch is at least pit stop time, so I'd assume he's in for repairs. Aniel May looks to unfortunately be a retirement. That's very unfortunate indeed, as Jason Whited has also lost his front wing and is trying to make it into his pit stall. So that went very quickly there, from green flag and a lot of action to into a yellow, which obviously can happen with everyone tensed up and ready to go. So just to quickly go through how the field is looking at the moment as we are on the yellow. Adam Hackman leads with Ferguson 2nd, Mikey Grems in 3rd with Tiago Canola in 4th, Yakes in 5th with Schlapinski in 6th, Boos in 7th with Equino in 8th, Jason White in 9th with Ibanez Sr. in 10th, Sabre 11th and Shure 12th, Watering 13th, Lacina 14th, Ray Ridol in 15th with Yannick in 16th, Jareb in 17th and Hlavac 18th, Rocha 19th, but will drop to the back with that pit stop. So that's Bouchard up into 19th with Walker 20th, Chacon 21st and Rocha, I'd assume, will be 22nd once he has filled up his tank of fuel, and Whited out one lap behind in 23rd. As is Juha Boos by the looks of things, coming out of the pits there. Looks like he was involved as well. That was Jon Team, sorry, I was misidentifying the car. So Jason Fitch is unfortunately a second retiree in this race already, as the safety car is already back into the pits and we are ready to go racing. Oh, Ryan Walker has received drive-through. No, sorry, a stop. Go. Why? Oh dear me, that's strange. Well, we are back racing, and Ferguson immediately wastes no time and jumps into the lead of the race. We're going to see that
Oh, Cesaris is in the wall. Cesaris is in the wall.
That was a very close call indeed. And he's still wide out in the grey. We talked a little bit about grey earlier, but that's certainly going to be the biggest killer on this track, I'd say. Being too high and in the grey and having no way of controlling the car and making it steer. I have to say, all the guys in the ISO modding team has had a masterpiece making this mod. It's looking really, really beautiful. As Adam Hackman says, the fastest lap of the race, trying to chase after Ferguson. That Penske should give him quite a bit of pace, and I think someone else might have put in another quick lap. And there were some really colourful cars on the grid in 78 as well. As Acerclinth now sets the fastest lap of the race. When it looks like he's going for the move. No, it wasn't. That was Jason White trying to get past Shrapinski, and it looks like he'll get him on the exit. No, he doesn't. Shrapinski gets the better exit. Cesaris with the Foyt engine and White with the Cosworth. Both Ford based, but I believe the Cosworth has a little bit more to give. As we can see, Queen run wide there, and I think he lost a position to his senior. And someone else up wide there in the wall. Possibly only scraping it, but still in the wall. That would have been August Watering running a little bit wide, still sitting in 15th, so nice steady start from him. See here, the guy on the move at the moment looks to be Tiago Canola. He's caught up to Adam Hackman, is forcing the Penske driver wide, and it looks like Canola has taken second position there.
Indeed. Sorry for my silence so far, but I was solving some issues with the internet, but I think now I'm back and you can hear me well, right?
I can. That's good to hear.
Yes, there's a consideration that we need to remember here, Jonathan. It's that there is a fuel limit for this race. So people will have to be careful with their ultimate pace, because if they turn the boost up and go for the maximum speed that they can do, they will be disqualified, because they will either use too much fuel or run out of fuel.
That is certainly true. Oh, and how close do you want Yannick right underneath the rear wing of Martin Lacina there? It's certainly something to think about, because they are allotted 2 tanks of fuel, 302 litres or around 80 gallons, so certainly going to be interesting if a bit like we would see in the DRM Championship later in the year, in the longer races where fuel limits are in there. So, oh, Lacina hits the wall! Runs wide. I wonder if he may have damaged his right rear track rod at all there. That looked like quite a hefty hit coming off of turn 1, hitting the differentiator between the road course and oval.
It's a very easy mistake to make. That wall comes at you very fast.
It certainly does. And here's another sort of return. He made his return after an illness plagued him last year. He came back and had a very impressive return to ISO, and now he's fighting with race T500 there. Lavac in the much older M16, but really making it go quite well.
And little Al just overtook his father, trying to get some speed up. He started this on pole.
I think he may have taken it a little bit easy early on, but maybe a bit too easy, but that looked like a quite easy pass towards the end of it, and immediately opens up a gap to his father there. Really impressive to see.
Yes, you don't want to fall too far behind because this is a very short track, and if anything happens you can easily go a lap down, and you don't want to do that.
That's certainly true, and a danger that everyone will...
Oh, and we have a fight for the lead now.
Oh, we do indeed. Canola is caught up and traffic is just a little bit ahead. Asura has retired as well, unfortunately. I just noticed on the standings board. I'm really sorry to see both our lady drivers retiring so early in the race, but I'm sure they will be back with vengeful fury in the next one. It looks like Ferguson's team wants him in for a pit stop. I wonder if he'll agree to that. I don't think so, since he's in the lead at the moment. But I wonder, Richard, how big of an issue do you think the tyres will be in this race? Seeing as you have more knowledge of them.
The tires, they are not a big concern, not as they were in 74, because by this time there was no tire war anymore. Goodyear was effectively the sole supplier in USAC, and they played it safe, so you can easily double stint the tires. Of course, that might have some tactical ramifications still, because people will try to go as long as they can with the same set of tires, and they might have problems with wear if they try to double stint them. So they will have to make the choice between having always fresh tires and losing more time in the pits, or trying to stretch the tire life and potentially be slower or having a crash on track.
That's very interesting, and I got slightly distracted in that description by all the traffic that the leaders just ran into. I've never seen so much traffic on one piece of road before. But then do you think they will... I heard a bit of a discussion going on in the pits earlier. Do you think they will go for 2 tires only if they stop around mid-race under green, or will they take 4 anyway?
And that's also a possibility, yes. Some people might opt to just replace the outside tires because the inside ones don't wear so much, and that's a tactic that someone can use. Of course, again, the risk is that you might find yourself with 2 badly worn tires, in this case on the inside of the car, at some crucial part in the race. So the drivers really have a lot to think this afternoon.
They certainly do, and I think right now they are mainly thinking about the traffic. This is, in the words of some drivers, at least, I think they will be saying, this is ridiculous. How can there be so many cars on track at the same time? Because this is looking hectic, like there's no tomorrow.
Well, yes, but it's awesome to see. Like you said earlier, it's a very colorful field, and it's good to see so many of these cars on track, and it's a great spectacle just looking at it.
It certainly is, and the engine sounds is fantastic to listen to as well.
Thank you. I'll take some credit on that one.
That was the intention. They really sound nice. Sorry, go ahead.
No, thank you. Yeah, I think so too. I was able to pump up the reverb and the volume, and now it really sounds like we are in the middle of a racetrack full of noisy race cars. And now Canola is attacking Fredriksson for the lead.
Let's go back there. 2 championship rivals from years past, and again the Canola is forcing now Fredriksson, trying to force Fredriksson wide at the final turn, the same place where he passed Hackman about 5 to 8 laps ago. I think Ferguson will be a harder nut to crack than what Hackman was. Hackman often drives quite conservatively, I would say, early on in the race, and then it all comes good towards the end.
Yes, Fredriksson is a tough opponent in any circumstance, and he won't make Canola's life easy. And it's interesting to see the difference in lines, in which Fredriksson is using a very wide line, always above the white line, while Canola is going very deep, very down into the aprons. And it's interesting how, you know, both approaches seem to yield almost the same result. Of course, Canola might be going a bit more down now to try to get away from the dirty air that Fredriksson is creating behind him, because if you try to follow one of these cars too closely around these long corners, you will lose downforce.
And then, of course, as mentioned earlier, if you lose your front downforce, you understeer, you end up in the grey, and then you're most likely a goner. I agree with you, it's very interesting to see, and it could also be down to what they prefer to have in a car, because Canola's car might be a bit more understeery, so it's actually forcing the car down there to give him more room to work with towards the exit, while Ferguson's car is a bit more stable, so to speak, and he can go a little bit higher and keep the same kind of lap time. Ooh, and almost contact there.
Very close there, very close. I mean, Canola is really trying to pass him. He's not just trying to sit there, which we would assume would be a tactic to save fuel, but no, he's giving it all to pass Fredriksson, even this early in the race.
Indeed, and that's one of the things with these 150-mile races. They are short and quick. We are already 34 laps into the race. Now Canola tries around outside. Surely not. No, that doesn't work.
It is possible, but exactly. Fredriksson saw it coming.
And parks the bus on the beneath the white line that time. So clearly he can't run that low. He just prefers the slightly wider approach. So Hackman still holding on in third, with Yakes up in the fourth now. He's passed Mikey Grems, his pal. Mikey Grems actually has quite a bit of racing experience from what I've understood. He's an iRacing fugitive, or however you would phrase that. Been racing on iRacing for a long time, but recent times has seen him searching for pastures new and hopefully better racing, and certainly looks like, considering where he is in the field, he's doing very well. Looks to be enjoying himself up there in the top 5. And holding off Slapinski is no mean feat. Oh, Slapinski's almost scrapes the wall.
Yeah, Slapinski has been driving really deep into these corners sometimes, and I wonder until which point that will get him.
Certainly riding a very fine line indeed. Jason White still holding on to 7th ahead of Alberto Queen. I believe this fight has gone on for a few laps. Well, I noticed Alberto was catching up to Jason a few laps ago, and still hasn't been able to pass him. And both of them sitting in behind the M16C now with Ryan Walker. And Ryan is an old friend of mine. He's from Scotland, Falkirk, and mainly does endurance racing. We saw him in the Super Taurus last year and in the LVT event, and did very well there. And looks like he wants to get involved in this oval business, and not doing too bad so far. Sitting in 20th at the moment, but trying to stay out of the way mainly. As he does it very nicely there. And rounding out the top 10 for the moment is Juha Bors, and together Ibanez and David Saber, so two of the admins fighting each other for position here. And what do you think is, would you say the Lightning that Ibanez are driving, or the McLaren would be the better car for this track in terms of handling?
That's a good call. The McLaren is a bit more twitchy, a bit more nervous. The Lightning might be the choice to have. Oh, and there's a pass for the lead.
Oh, and in traffic it is as well. Let's quickly go back and watch that, if we can. Hopefully it won't be completely lagged out, but it might be. Looks like it's partly is, but looks like Canola goes up the inside on the exit of 1 and through the dog leg, and then was able to hold it in traffic. Or maybe not. Ferguson was trying to cut back and get beneath him once again, but couldn't quite do it. And Hackman in there as well, looking for position now. Let's go back to it. And Canola in the lead, Ferguson second, Hackman third, right along each other now. So let's jump on board with Canola and look back and see what he's looking at in his rear view mirrors. Actually 4 of them, Schlapinski right up there as well. And Yates, so 5. Almost 6 because Grems ain't far back either. Owen Ferguson making contact with Watering there. Just about both of them able to hold on. Ferguson still with a great exit. He's up the inside. He's down the inside and he's passed. Fantastic move there. Really nicely done.
Had him wasting no time there. He wants to go and chase the two in front. But Fredriksson is not going to take this lying down. That's pretty clear.
Certainly so. And the traffic will play a huge part in this race, I think. Looking at how much traffic they've had to deal with already.
And Adam Hackman touched the wall, and because of that he's about to lose 2 places.
Oh dear. Well, that's, as we said, it's a very easy mistake to make, and unfortunately the Penske driver was the next one to do it. Well, it looks like Mikey Grems is looking for an up the inside move. Not quite able to do it there though.
Yes, I wonder if Adam's car is damaged or if he's just lost the focus a bit and he has to regain it.
Very difficult to say. See if we jump on board, if there's any kind of steering. Well, he has to steer just slightly to the right from what I can see, so maybe a slight little bit of damage. But I don't think it's anything too massive. Ferguson has opened up a 1 second lead due to the traffic situation, and David Yates up into 3rd. And Schlapinski 4th with Hackman's drop down the field.
Yeah, it seems Fredriksson decided to maybe turn his boost up and regain the lead. And now it's Jakes who's chasing down Canola.
It's certainly possible. I have to say that Watson rear wing looks very strange compared to all other cars on the field. Just saw Bouchard there in the being lap. That rear wing looks very off compared to many of the other cars.
Well, there was some experiments going on in this time, as we can see. Some of these cars sprouted wings on the front, and of course the teams were trying everything they could to get an edge.
Very much so, and certainly some were more successful than others, shall we say, in their experimental treatments of the cars. And here we have another driver that usually takes part in these USAC races and have often very good races. Raoul Jereb, driving one of the Lightnings for Fletcher Racing Team. And that's one of the, in my taste in a way, better looking cars. I have a bit of a soft spot for the red ones.
Well, lots of pretty good cars in this field, I would say. It's nice. It looks a very 70s field.
I think I would agree with that description. Now we have one of our newcomers, Luciano Roja of Italy, I believe.
Brazil, I think.
Brazil. My apologies, Luciano. Luciano driving the, I believe, Finley Eagle 72 or 74, 76. Finley bought a car. It was originally an Eagle 72 that then Finley himself updated and tried to improve. So one of the also ran cars, I suppose one could say.
That's true. And now Canola did the fastest lap of the race, and he seems to have turned his boost up because he's catching up with Fredriksson again.
Well, Ferguson slightly held up there by Jareb during a lapping as well. Oh, but Canola has to pinch his exit and lose time down the front stretch, so about the same distance after the exit of the turn as well. Ooh, someone is slow there on the bottom of the track.
Someone is without the wing. I believe so. I believe Rune Chacon is there without his rear wing. Let me check. Yes, it is him. Something happened with him. He has lost his rear wing. He's circulating very slowly to go into the pits, I presume.
Probably the case. And I'd say it's probably better to go very slowly and steadily than try to go any quicker, because without that rear wing, if you do get any kind of boost going, you won't be long for this world.
Oh, for sure, yes. He's entering the pits now, so everything is safe.
Very nicely done, Bruno. That looked more scary, I think, than it actually was. A bit unsure where that would have happened, though, because I haven't seen any like tire marks.
Maybe it was a collision from someone. It's possible.
It is, but I'd expect then someone to have no front wing. But I haven't seen that either.
Meanwhile, little Al decided that he had enough of pottering around, and he cranked his boost up, and he did the fastest lap of the race, and now he was beaten by Adam Hackman. So I suppose Adam's car is just recollecting himself, coming to his senses and calming down maybe a bit, and now he's bouncing up.
Indeed so, and certainly that was looked like a very, very quick lap. He's not able to Ooh, someone has a big loose moment, and there I saw the tire track, so looks like Chacon lost it on the exit of the final turn, and rear-ended the outside barriers as behind that. Was that Jareb, I wonder, having a bit of a moment in the same place?
I believe it was Lacina.
Oh, he is indeed in a red car as well. Let's actually have a quick gander here. Lacina is not in that part of the track, so that would have been Jareb then.
Okay, so that was Jareb. That's that one clear.
Oh, someone spun
have a
onto
car.
the front stretch. I think that's... no, that's not Ryan Walker, was it? No, it isn't. It was a black car.
It is. Oh, Jason Whited, and he's without his rear wing too.
Oh dear, that's unfortunate. Let's see if we can catch up to him. There he is. He was involved in the opening lap crash as well, so... Ooh.
Not having a good race in his return here, Jason.
Indeed, let's see if we can see here. Looks like he had a bit of a wobble, and it had a bit of a wobble in the mid corner, I think, and ended up in the grey, and unfortunately slammed the outside barrier. Hopefully not too hard, and he'll be able to bring it back to the pits and have it repaired once more.
Yes, he's just entering the pits now, so again, everything's safe. Now, the leaders, or at least in the field, must be approaching a time where we might see some pit stops.
Probably should, yeah. It's about 75. Oh, someone has blown up! Someone has blown up! That's Bouchard has blown up in the final corner. Dear me, that's unfortunately a sad end for one of the Watson cars. That's one Offenhauser gone. I saw the black smoke and see if we can possibly find out when that happened. Fortunately, that part is lagged out for me, but that's a very unfortunate end for that Watson car, but Bouchard did a good job up until that point, I would say.
Yes, these engines are very sensitive to over-revving and temperature, of course. So you really have to be careful, especially if you are using the toe of someone, to not over-rev behind the car in front, which is very easy to do if you're not paying attention. And Fredriksson is still leading.
Looks like both Jason White and Alberto Quino is slightly closing in on the leading sextet. At least that's how we say it in Sweden. I'm not sure if it's the same in English. If there's 6 of them, that's a sextet in Swedish at least. And Canola being held up by traffic there, so Ferguson will gain even more time.
Yes, very much. He's in a pinch there, and Jakes is right behind him.
Looks like Jakes unfortunately not quite able to capitalize. That's the Lola T500 being lapped in the hands of Ray Riddall. That's the number 48, I believe that is Alberto Ibanez, one of the Lightnings. Yes, that's Jason White, I believe, exiting the pit lane.
Yes, it seems his car was repaired.
So
let's hope that the car is at least functional now.
That looked close. Saw some very close action there, but I think that was White getting up to speed and someone having to take slightly avoiding action. Looks like everyone survived that. And Hackman again under attack now by Mikey Grems, so Hackman...
Oh, someone crashed! Someone crashed in the front straight.
Oh, that is... Oh no, it's Alberto Jr.
Little Owl.
Oh dear. Let's see if we can catch that on the replay. Let's see... Looks like he was a little bit high, a little bit loose. In the grey, and unfortunately the car swapped ends on him. Looks like he'll be able to somewhat drag the car back to pit lane.
Yeah, he was very lucky there. But I guess that goes his chance of doing a good result here. But of course he still can score points, like we said in the beginning of this broadcast. Almost everybody can score points.
Certainly so, as long as you, I don't know if you need to be classified or if you needed to start, but everyone should be able to score some kind of points in this race. So that's unfortunately Quino out of the question for a top 10 finish, presumably. But I do see that Jason White now has lost time in traffic, unfortunately. So it's one of those things where traffic giveth and traffic taketh away.
Yes, traffic is just like karma in racing.
Indeed.
So our newcomers, Ryan Walker is 17th. He's doing a good job fending for himself out there. August Vattrig is right in front of him in 16th. He was very enthusiastic coming to the series, and it's nice to see him doing well so far.
Indeed, and putting in a good show for the Watson team. Probably not one of the better cars for this track specifically, but should be pretty decent, I think, on the super speedways and possibly on the road courses.
For sure. Brian Janik, he's in the field. He was a very last-minute replacement for David Junt, who is not here, and he's also doing well for himself.
Yeah, the Detroit man certainly showing that oval racing is something he knows quite well to be sitting in the top 10.
Ooh, someone is going to the pits. I think it's David Saber. David Saber is making his pit stop now.
Okay, so he's the first pit stopper on his lap 76, I believe. So, no, 77. That's 76 completed. So, lap 77 for Saber. He pits and he is taking 4 tires. So he wants stability and safety for his last half of the race. And that's
Someone else is coming.
Is that Lasina possibly? I can't see if there's an 8 or 15. I believe that's a 15. So that's
And Vatrick is also in.
Lasina. And who did you say was that? Ferguson?
August Vatrick.
Okay.
And Saber is taking too long. I think maybe he's repairing the car. Maybe he forgot to turn the repairs off because he's still sitting there.
Possibly Lavach into the pits as well. So all hands on deck as people are pitting. Here comes another one. Oh, and a tight pit exit entry there. That's David Yates just about being avoided by.
And he missed his pit stall because of that.
Watering. Oh dear, that's unfortunate, but that's just one of those things. On another tight entry there for 92. That is.
Canola's in the pits now.
Canola into the pits as well, so all the leaders coming in as well.
Yes, Hackman, Grams, everybody's here now. But Fredrickson stayed out, so he managed to save more fuel.
Yeah, Ferguson was very nifty on fuel.
Canola is now very squeezed because Hackman is sideways in front of him.
Here comes Rocha out to the pits, so let's see. Oh, Canola actually taking 4 tires. Is that Ferguson, I wonder, coming into the pits in the background?
Yes, I believe it is Fredrickson making his pit stop.
So all the leaders now. Hackman actually out first. Wow. So Hackman, I think, only took 2 tires there. Very quick stop.
I think Canola hit maybe Mikey Grams going backwards in his pit stall to try to exit. I sure hope that Mikey didn't have damage because of that, because that was not the most smart of moves, I would say.
It's very unfortunate indeed, but it's again one of those things that the pit lane is very tight. So Yannick up into 4th, but he obviously has to pit. Boss up into 2nd. White up into 3rd for Boss. 2nd for Jason White. And 1st for Slapinski at the moment. So Slapinski saving even more fuel.
Yes, I mean, if we can see it by this, we can deduce that the leaders, they ran as fast as they could to make the fuel, and maybe some other people were saving more fuel behind them.
It certainly looks like Slapinski is one of those saving fuel. We'll see, Rocha has a bit of a close moment there as Slapinski now pinches the car down into the pit lane. Just about gets it in.
That was very tight.
In the pit lane, and several others as well.
Bryan Janik was smart. He put his car sideways so that he can get out.
Indeed. And now the safety car
now
disappeared.
Alberto.
Show it, but Ray Ridol coming out to the pits. That's Alberto and Yannick coming out to the pit lane. Slapinski out.
White is still out
at the moment. Jareb coming out there, and Ibanez still having a bit of work done to his car. Did you say White and Boss still out still? Ferguson retains his effective lead, but right behind him now is Slapinski, so Slapinski has gained quite a bit of time in that pit stop. So Boss now into pit lane, but Jason White is still out there in his Penske PC6. And I had a bit of I had a bird whispering in my ear, so to speak, that the Ford engines and especially the Cosworth was possibly the best car to have here because of the fuel saving capacity that they can have, and clearly Jason White is proving that very, very clearly here. He is probably hoping for a yellow.
at this point. Yes, I mean, look how much fuel he was able to save.
And he's going around for another lap.
He hasn't stopped yet.
No, I don't. As far as I'm aware, he hasn't. That is incredible.
Of course, this means that whenever he stops, he will be able to come out of the pits and have more than enough
Here
fuel
he
to the
comes.
finish, which will also mean that he can probably run a higher boost than everybody else because he won't have any fuel concerns.
Very much so. And let's see when the leaders, here they come. No, they don't. Here they come. Ferguson, Schlapinski, Equino. Let's see, where's the third place? Jason White is still in third. Hackman third now. And Jason White leaving fourth. Fifth, down to fifth he goes because there comes Canola. Oh, he'll be joining fifth or sixth position here. Seventh now because I know I missed a couple of people coming across, but I think Jason will have gained a position or two with this. And if not, then a lot of time, because as you say, he can now run more or less as high boost as he would like, and the things then you can take up till the finish. Which I'm sure he'll be quite happy with us. Let's jump on board with him for a moment actually and have a ride along and see what he is seeing out from his Penske PC6.
Meanwhile, Jonatan retired. We missed that.
That's unfortunate. I wonder if we can possibly get on the replay what happened to him. That Kingfish, obviously an older car and maybe not quite up to the standard of some of the other machinery, but Jon was doing a good job up until whatever caused his retirement. Doesn't look like we'll be able to get it on replay, unfortunately. So that's now 5 retirees from this race. So Ferguson retains his lead, Schlapinski just behind him in second. Third, about 5 seconds behind, is Hackman. And then we have Canola in fourth. Mikey Grimm's up into, well, retains fifth.
Oh, and Schlapinski is going for the lead.
There he is, and he is indeed. He's up the inside and passed. Well, Schlapinski proved he had some good pace in the warm-up session before the race, and clearly that is showing here right now. And he's already leaving Ferguson in his dust. I wonder if Schlapinski may have turned up the boost just a tiny bit there to try and get a bit of a gap.
I wouldn't be surprised. He stopped later, I believe, than Fredriksson. You will correct me if I'm wrong. So that means that maybe he has less concerns about fuel at this point.
Yes, I believe he pitted probably 3 or 4 laps later than what Ferguson did.
Yeah, so that's indeed a lot. So yes, I guess he can run a harder pace now because he was able to save more fuel in the earlier part of the race.
Certainly a possibility. Ooh, as he's really loose coming off of one. Clearly pushing the car hard. It'll certainly be interesting to see how this turns out. Ooh, it's very loose in the background there. That was one of the black cars. That was probably Equino, I would hazard to guess.
Yes, the black cars not much luck in this race. I believe either Whitehead or Equino, if they are still in the race, they probably are running with wounded cars and maybe not in the best shape in terms of handling at this point.
No, probably not. This track specifically, I think, is even worse for an ill-handling car because you have nowhere to have a bit of a breather. It's action all the way around the track.
That's true, even what for us is hard to keep up.
Certainly so, but we are doing our best to bring you all the action here tonight as we are closing in on lap 100 of this 150 lap race. As as we now have 100 laps completed as Ślepinski crosses the line.
Indeed, Slopinski first, Fredrickson second, and Hackman third at this point.
Ryan Walker back into the pits. And a smoking engine, that doesn't look good. I wonder if that's a blown engine for Walker.
I'm afraid so.
That's unfortunate for the Scotsman. He was really looking forward to this.
Yes, that engine looks like a barbecue on Sunday, and I guess that's it for Ryan, unfortunately.
I suppose the one positive thing he can take away from it is that looks more like turbo smoke than an actual oil fire, so that was the turbo giving up rather than the actual engine. I just decided to leave the camera on that wall for a moment because that gives us a chance to see the cars streaming past at high speed and listening to the engines at full song. But that's unfortunately another retiree, so that's now 6 retirements from this race. I think that's still less than what we had in the opening race of the 1974 championship, so everyone doing a very good job in surviving here so far. It looks like Canola is closing in on Hackman in 3rd place, so that could be a battle in a few laps' time. As will the battle be here between Grems and Yakes. Jason White once again on the same piece of track as Brun Chacon. Doesn't seem to help that help no matter what race, track or car combination. If you see White, you will most often see Brun Chacon close by as well. And Juha Bols looks to be closing in as well. And Brian Yannick is not too far behind these two either. Be a nice 3-way fight in a little bit. Martin Lassina still sitting in the top 10 for Lindsay Hopkins. Nice consistent drive and return for Martin here, especially if he can finish that. It's a very nice way to come back into ISO racing.
And now the person behind Lassina, in this case Alberto, was just lapped by the leader, Cesarius Fredrickson. Cesarius Fredrickson, that was a good one. Cesarius Slapinski. And Cesarius doesn't seem to be slowing down at all at this point.
Well, he might have fuel to burn, but I'm a tiny bit worried for his engine's sake if the engine can take the strain.
Well, let me take a look inside. I don't think he's doing... Well, actually, I'm wrong. He's certainly revving up his engine. He has to be careful behind slower cars because even on his own, his engine gets very dangerously close to 9,000 RPM. And if I was him, I would be watching that needle when he follows someone, because if he goes too high in there, he can have the same destiny as Ryan Walker.
Certainly so. That's one of the biggest dangers around this track.
And Lucien Roche is also out of the race. What happened with him?
Oh dear, I noticed there was someone missing. I couldn't work out who. Let's see if we can possibly get that on replay. That's unfortunately another of the also ran cars out of the race in the form of the Finley. But from what I could see, Rocha did a good job up until his retirement. I didn't see any major issues, just one of those things where misfortune can occur.
Yes, might have been also his engine, which would not be surprising. Someone entering the pits there, I don't know who it is.
And that would be Alberto Quino, actually, possibly in for a splash, since he had to pit quite early.
Yes, that's true. It's going to complicate his maths a bit, because he needs to remember he cannot put more than
Oh no, he's
2
actually
full fuel
retired.
tanks. Oh,
He's parked the car.
maybe his car was too damaged and he felt he was being a danger on track. I mean, he was fairly down the order, and his car seemed to be very hard to control since he came back from his accident, so I suppose he decided to maybe call it a day before hurting someone.
Certainly possible, and it could also be that if he hit the wall one more time and that was enough to say, yeah, I think I'll leave it at that.
Sometimes you get warnings like that, Jonathan, and sometimes indeed it's better to leave it like that.
Very much so. I unfortunately had it myself and disregarded that warning and promptly crashed it a little bit later.
So Fredriksson now seems to be trying to put the hammer down, and he's chasing up Cesarius, and he's actually getting closer.
Let's jump on board with the Gilmore Racing Team Coyote in the hands of Slapinski and look back at Fredriksson as he is edging ever closer. Lap 116 completed. And 34 to go.
Yeah, some surprises might come to us here in the end of the race. Of course, there's a reliability issue. There's also the fuel, which might prove troublesome for some people here at the end, because if they abused their boost knob or their pace too much, they might find themselves with very little fuel to finish the race and having to slow down dramatically.
I noticed that Slapinski is actually lifting quite early into turn 1, and looks like he's feathering the throttle, or sounds like he's feathering the throttle, going down into turn 3 and 4.
Well, that would be an indicator. I mean, I think he has fuel to spare, but maybe he burned it too much passing Fredriksson and running away from him, and now he needs to cool off and save a bit.
And he's a little bit wide there. I know he's been running deep, but that's doing him no favors at the moment. Ferguson getting closer on his more steady line. As I say that, though, Ferguson runs just a tad bit wider than I think he would have liked, but close too much.
Meanwhile, David Jakes is really in the back of Adam Hackman now.
He's actually passed him even.
There he goes. He's clearly turned up the boost because, ooh, not quite yet, but his extra speed there down the straight indicates to me that he's running at power, the boost up, and he almost lost it there on the exit, and Adam Hackman's car is also snaking a bit, and there goes Jakes again, and I think this time he got it.
Yep, and here comes Mikey Grems as well, wanting a piece of the action, wants back up into that top 5 he's been sitting in for most of the race. Looks like Grems, actually gets very loose off the corner there. Very nearly went I can't call it lawn mowing here, can I? Because it's dirt and
I would say he almost went to clean the beach there.
oh, he didn't. That's a much more suitable description indeed. But luckily for him, he was able to hold on. And seeing as there is a little bit of a, what looks to be at least a little bit stop in the action, let's have a quick look at a trivia question before I forget to bring it up at all.
It's too much action around here indeed.
There is indeed, so just to quickly get it off here. Which American actor and racing enthusiast won a sports car race on the Phoenix road course in 1970? Was it A. James Garner, B. Paul Newman, or C. Steve McQueen? I luckily got that right when I saw the trivia question earlier, but it might not be who you think it is. Anyway, again, back to the action, and we can see that Ferguson is closer now than he was when we left the action.
True, in the meantime, I was watching momentarily Bryan Janik, who was attacking Jason White, although in the meantime Jason White was able to pull away. And behind him, August smacked the wall pretty hard on the exit of turn 4. I think he was lucky to not, having something fall off his car after that. But he's still going on, so I guess he got away with it with a big dose of luck, like I said.
It's unfortunate to hear that he hit the wall, but happy to hear that looks like his car is more or less okay after that.
And in the meantime, Mikey Grimes is attacking Adam Hackman again, and they're very close to each other.
Well, here they are. The Penske of Hackman and the
Eagle 74, I believe,
Eagle
from Mikey.
74, indeed, yeah. Or 76. 74 with the 76 wings, possibly. It's a little bit on and off on what the car actually is, but at least the chassis in the baseline is an Eagle.
He's getting really close now, but it's really hard to stick his nose on the inside there, because you can easily go wide just like he did.
Yep. Ooh, and really riding on the slide there. Again, looking up the inside, not quite able to do it. Ooh, but Hackman runs a little bit wide, Grimes up the inside, and very neatly and easily there takes 5th place away from Hackman.
That was a very good clean move, I would say, profiting from Hackman just getting just a little bit too deep into the corner, and now he's gone and away. He definitely has more pace than Adam at this stage of the race. He's now in 5th. Let's see if he can catch up with Davy Jakes.
Oh, and someone else has blown on the back straight. Just noticed all the black smoke. Let's see if we can see who that possibly was. Oh no, it's August Watering.
Oh, that's unfortunate. He was running 15 and having a good race, and that's a shame.
That's sad. That's a heart-wrenching sound.
Yes, like I said, it's very easy to over-rev the engine, even if you don't think you are over-revving. Going past the 8,700, 8,800 is really not advisable, because sooner or later your engine goes.
And you also had him hitting the wall just a little while ago, so I wonder if that possibly tweaked the engine as well.
Definitely possible.
If at all possible that it would do, but it's one of those you never know sort of things, isn't it?
Well, that's true. I don't think hitting the wall would hurt the engine, at least in our game, but still anything can contribute for even his lack of concentration or anything. In the meantime, we missed it, but Bryan Janik overtook Jason White, so Janik is now 8th, Jason White is 9th.
We did indeed. Looks like White might have had a bit of a moment somewhere. Ooh, as he locks up into turn 1. That looked very strange, but Janik has opened up a big gap and is almost caught up to Johan Bors. That's interesting to see, and Hackman struggling to put a lap on, I believe that is the Lola in the hands of Bravery Doll. So while not on the pace of on the ultimate pace, I should say, Bravery Doll is getting that Lola T500 to go quite well around here.
That's true, it's a car that it's not at home in his short tracks, but he's doing a good job of keeping it there, making Alan Senior proud.
Very much so, as White had a bit of a moment going into turn 1 there, but was able to hold on to it. And now Ferguson going around outside of him, and it's fluctuating somewhere between 1 and 2 seconds between Schlapinski and Ferguson, but Ferguson is not quite able to... Oh! Oh, dearie me! Wow!
Oh,
That was Chacon, I believe, having
Yes.
having one hell of a moment, and I believe Ferguson might have touched him there.
oh, I'm not sure. I guess the replay is a warrant there, but that was... I'm pretty sure Jacob now is feeling... You know, his heartbeat must be really, really high at this moment.
Certainly so. That was a very close call.
And with that, he lost quite a bit of time to Slapinski, and he's now being harassed by Thiago Canola.
That's certainly unfortunate for Fredriksson. He was looking to be quite close to Slapinski at the time, but I suppose some inter-team tactics put a stop to that, but it's more of a joke than anything else. I know Chacon wouldn't do that intentionally. That was just one of those unfortunate moments. It was just the slightest of moments that caused that. Presumably, from the looks of it, Chacon ended up a little bit too high in the grey.
Ooh,
And
and
it
Thiago
swapped
almost
ends.
passing him. Now, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Thiago's on the inside in the last corner, and he couldn't quite do it, but he was very, very close.
That looks to be Canola's favourite overtaking opportunity, exit of turn 4. Well, any exit really, because here he comes off of turn 2, through the dog leg and into turn 3 and 4. Looks
Fredriksson
like
holding on. No, but he got it.
just about slips in front of Ferguson there. Maybe they can work together now to catch up to Slapinski.
Only 10 laps to go now, so...
Wow, this went by quickly. Dear me. So quickly look through the top 10 before we have the last dash to the finish. Yates in 4th, Grems in 5th, Hackman in 6th as Canola sets the fastest lap of the race. Buha Bos in 7th, Yannick in 8th, Jason White in 9th, and Martin Lasina just behind him rounds out the top 10. Ray Riddle currently 11th. Let's see, looks like Canola is definitely closing in. Only 1.5 seconds now to lead for Slapinski. And one of the sort of funny things here was the smoke from Canola! Oh dearie me, he must be pushing that engine very hard indeed.
He must be running hot to be smoking like that.
That is not looking at a healthy engine at all. Will we get even more engine blowouts before the end of the race? That is smoking badly. I must say, if that engine survives, the Offenhauses build their engine strong, and that is looking very, very ominous indeed. But he is really closing in on Slapinski. Look at that!
He is, he's giving it all. Oh no!
Oh no, there he goes, there he
went.
goes, the engine went for him. Oh dear. That's so unfortunate. I suppose in our case we saw that coming from a mile away, but that's yellow flag! That's a yellow coming out with 5 laps to go!
I wonder what happened.
I think that was because of the blowout for Canola. Unless there was something else happening as well, I'm not entirely sure.
Did he stop? He stopped in the middle of the front straight. No, someone is missing a wing there.
Oh, there
Someone's
are,
missing a
that's
wing.
Jareb. So maybe there
Jareb
were
is
2
missing a
different
wing.
incidents then. Must have
Yes,
been.
and that would explain the safety car at this point, because I don't think it would be called just because Canola blew his engine and stopped.
Oh.
So there was another incident at the same time.
Indeed, just before it, Jareb had a spin coming off of turn 4, just before the leaders came around to it. So that's why.
So this throws everything out of the window because now it's going to be a dash to the finish and a very quick one.
Indeed. And also, just to note there, look at that beautiful Stingray safety car.
That's true. It's a beautiful car and a very nice model that we have as a safety car for this season of USAC.
Very much so, but as you say, there's a dash for the flag. We have 3 laps to go now.
So the top 4 actually, are...
Yakes up into second.
Yeah, exactly. The top 3, Sopinski, Jakes and Fredriksson, are all together. No traffic between them, so it will be a dash between these 3 to the finish.
Very much so, and I don't think Yakes were thinking he'd be sitting in second with the soon to be 2 laps to go. And with a very good chance of taking the win.
If anybody bet on that, they are about to cash in, because he is in a very good position for this. Slopinski is in front still, but sometimes in these short ovals it's better to be the second than to be the leader. So we'll see how that pans out. Jereb is still there, still without the front wing. I suppose he wants to go to the finish like that. Although, well, I have to ask why, because he's 14 at the moment. Behind him is Bryan Janik. I think Bryan Janik was involved into something, because he was for sure higher than that. And now he's showing 4 laps down in 14th.
He must have pitted for repairs. That is indeed, but the lowest Jereb will drop, I think, is to 15th, so...
Yes, exactly. So he could have gone to the pits for repairs, and he still would have come out in 15, because Bryan is going to overtake him as soon as we go to green.
Indeed. And we'll have at least 1 more lap, so it'll be a 1-lap dash if we get green next time by.
A 1 lap is not a long time to do much, but we will see what happens. I'm pretty sure they are all cranking up their boosts and trying to pounce as soon as that safety car gets out of the way.
Certainly the most likely scenario. Certainly looking antsy behind Shlapinski there, in the form of Yakes and Fredriksson. They really look like they want to get going here and have a go.
I gotta say, it's a surprise, sort of a surprise seeing Cesarius do so well in his short track with a Coyote, but he seemed to be doing well in adapting to the car, and we're getting ready to go to green.
Yep, there goes the safety car. And the green flag is out. We have 1 more lap to go. So let's see what happens here between Shlapinski, Yakes and Fredriksson. Who will take the win and who will finish second and third? Looks like Shlapinski had a good run through turn 1. Yakes under attack from Ferguson in the meantime. So looks like Shlapinski will take the win. The question is who will take... Ooh, Ferguson up high in the wall.
Ooh, Fredriksson went too deep.
Indeed,
that might cost him dearly.
Looks like it, because Shlapinski at least will take the win here. And Yakes finishes second, just behind him. Ferguson third. Mikey Gremson, his debut in USAC, finishes 4th. Adam Hackman finishes 5th. Boss in 6th. Jason White in 7th. That is Martin Lacina in 8th. Ray Riddle finishes 9th after the late race incidents that we saw. Alberto Ibanez scores a top 10 finish here. Peter Lavac finishes 11th with Saber 12th. Bryan Yannick unfortunately down in 13th. Raul Jareb 14th, so he actually held on to 14th. Thierry Canola 15th, Jason White at 16th, Brun Chacon finishes 17th, and unfortunately our retirees were August Watering, Alberto Quino, Luciano Roja, Ryan Walker, Jonty, Jules Bugard, Dana Schure, Jason Fetch and Angel May. So while we wait for all our drivers to come in here to have a chat with us, we will have a quick quick commercial break, and when we are back we will hopefully have a driver or two to talk to. And we'll also obviously have a look at the trivia question, but we'll be back shortly after these messages.
If you really want to say something in the Yellow Pages, you need the right arrangement. To promote reliability, brand names and authorized service, the hours you're open, the completeness of your service, your location. And don't forget illustration and copy, because if you say the right things, your Yellow Pages ad can make some beautiful music. Say something to your composer, your Yellow Pages salesperson.
When American Fletcher said, "Ed, we want to be your bank," I said, "You may say that when I have money, but what about when I need money?" Well, they said they could give me a loan for just about anything I needed without a lot of hassle. Then they told me I was worth more money than I thought. And I said, "American Fletcher, you want me? You got me."
And on the track now is two-time 500 winner Johnny Rutherford.
You can be a winner, too, when you play Burger Chef's exciting and challenging 500 Racing Facts game. Just buy any sandwich, fry, and drink combination, and you'll get a game card that will test your racing knowledge.
Boy, I got a tough one. Hey, this is great! I just won!
I've got the best one. Who won the 76 500?
Be a winner. Play 500 Racing Facts, only at Burger Chef.
Now, True Value hardware stores offer a selection of beauty aids for your lawn to keep it looking its best.
User was moved to
This
your
Weed
channel.
Eater Needy Trimmer edges, trims, mows, and sweeps a 16-inch path where the mower can't reach. The Black & Decker double-edged 16-inch hedge trimmer keeps shrubs and evergreens neatly trimmed. And this Rockwell Lawn Edger and Trimmer cuts a neat, narrow edge along walks and driveways. Beautify your lawn and garden with the help of quality name-brand tools from participating True Value hardware stores.
Good evening, can you hear me?
And we are back from the broadcast booth here for the Jimmy Bryan 150, which ended with a hard battle towards the end of the race with some really good action along the whole way of the race. We have, I believe, two drivers from the event in the broadcast booth with us now. We have Stasiusz Lapinski and Jason White. So first of all, Stasiusz, congratulations on your win.
Thank you very much. It was actually a struggle with the fuel. I was fuel starving for some 20 laps before the end, and this yellow came like a gift from the heaven, you know.
Yeah, we were speculating about that because it looked like you were able to run quite long in the first half of the race. And then you blasted past Ferguson and pulled out a bit of a gap, but then it looked like he was either cranking up the boost or, as you then said, you actually held back a little bit.
Yeah, actually I wasn't. I was very happy if I could finish top 5. That was my goal for tonight. And then I think I can call it some small experience that I gained last year. That actually I knew that the longer you extend your first stint, the lighter and quicker the car would be at the end, and that's paid off tonight.
Yeah, certainly looks like it with a win, and you had some. In the first stint, it looked like you were hanging back and watching the action. How did you find that experience, watching everyone else running there? And I'd assume the traffic was quite interesting to deal with as well.
Yeah, as always, I just tried to stay out of trouble, and you know, I didn't mind finishing just behind the red marked car, you know, the fast runners. But in the end, I think some bit of tactics, I don't know, a luck at the end. It was just a luck, you know, this yellow flag brought me some nice gift for the season opener. I'm very happy.
That's very understandable. Again, congratulations, Cesarius. And I actually can't remember where we're going next. Jason, where are we going next, you as an admin for this series?
We're going to Ontario Motor Speedway next, the Indy clone out west. So we don't have to travel very far.
Indeed. So, Cesarius, looking at Ontario being the next venue, how are you looking at that? Will that be suitable to you, or do you think it'll be more of a struggle than here?
Well, we'll see. I just read the 1978 README file for the mod, and it says something like on the super speedway the Coyote can be still competitive. So if it was competitive here in Phoenix, I will hope that in Ontario will show its real power even more. But you know, I realize that the car is pretty agey now, and it's not so brilliant that it was in the 74.
Okay, well, certainly sounds promising for the next event either way. So again, congratulations, and looking forward to see what you can do at the super speedway next time out.
Thank you very much.
And we also have Jason White with us. Looked like you got a top 10 finish there, Jason. I suppose you're quite happy with that.
Yeah, a good way to start the year. I knew that this was going to be a really difficult race. First of all, congratulations to Cesarius and Gilmore racing team on an excellent run. Shows that Bob Riley's designs are still of a place in the series, and they may be getting up there in age, but are still competitive. So good start to the year for him. I had my usual slow start, especially on short tracks like this. They're very nerve-wracking, so I was just trying to keep the car clean. And I managed to through the first stint. Actually led at the tail end of the first stint for a bit, but only took on 2 tires to try to get out of the pits quicker. But then I bogged down on the exit, so it really kind of threw that advantage out the window. But fatigue started to get to me towards the end, and I was lucky to finish where I was. I was content to finish 8th until I guess there was some kind of an accident towards the end. And that elevated me to 7th. I had Martin Lucina closing down on me fast, but fortunately, by the last sprint at the end, I had a few cars between me and him, so I was able to salvage a 7th. So I mean, I was hoping for a top 5, but that's a good start for the year. Certainly better than not finishing at Phoenix, which is what high likelihood will happen. I'd also like to extend a personal thank you to all the to those on the track who were new, who haven't done oval racing before. This is a very tough assignment to do your first oval race on the Phoenix 1 mile, because things are just happening all the time, and I've got to give them credit. They were very courteous. They were patient. They were very aware of what was going on around them, and I think they did excellent. At least that was my experience. I can't speak for everybody, but overall, I thought it was a very good race, and I'm looking forward to watching the coverage.
It certainly looks like there were no major issues with lappings. There were more issues where people had an off of some kind, and obviously the track only has so much space, so inevitably you will have cars being on the same part of the track. So that was the only thing I saw from the broadcast booth anyway. We're also joined, actually, thank you Jason, by the way, and actually let's put one more question in there. Looking at Ontario being the next one out, how are you looking forward to that one, Jason?
Well, I'm looking forward to Ontario. I think I have an excellent chance of doing well there, because this is the kind of track that the Cosworths do well at. Obviously, it's short tracks like this. The other engines, you know, are more on equal footing with the Cosworth. But once you get to the super speedways, it's going to be a different story. So hopefully I can do at least a top 5, maybe better there. But I'm really pleased for Roger that the Gould Charge and the Norton Spirit, my teammate Adam, finished in the top 10 today. It's a good way to start the year. I'm sure our sponsors will be happy.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Jason, and congratulations on your top 10 finish. We're also joined by Jakob Ferguson, who finished 3rd in this race. I don't know if I should say congratulations on 3rd place or condolences on not finishing 1st.
Me neither. I don't usually hang out in the broadcast booth, but this is the kind of race that you have to talk about, because that was a lot of fun. I think Cesarius played his hand perfectly. He passed me just as well at the perfect moment, and then I had to do the chasing. And then I had a look in the rearview mirror when Thiago came, and I had no idea David was there too, because I had only been looking forward for the last 50 or 60 laps there. But yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with this, because I had a bit of a slump lately in most kind of races, and now I finally have a result. And I had a pace to win. I think if I had been a bit luckier in traffic, I would have had a shot at the end. So I think congratulations is the word you're looking for there, actually.
Then congratulations on finishing third. Then congratulations on finishing third.
Yeah, thanks.
We also saw early on there that the traffic, as you mentioned, a bit of luck in traffic. The traffic looked quite maniacal in parts of it. Did you find it that way, or was it easier than it looked like from the outside?
Those who were being lapped were very courteous. I did not have any specific issues with anyone. People raced each other cleanly. It was a pretty clean race, very few accidents, only 2 yellows, and the last one might have been because Thiago blew his engine. I had no issues with really the traffic, just part of the game on this kind of short track. So that was part of the fun today.
Sounds good. And next time out, we're going to Ontario in the clone out west with the Super Speedway. How do you rate your chances there after today's experience?
Feeling a bit braggy. I won there last year, so I think I have pretty good chances. It's one of my favorite tracks because it's not exactly like Indy. It's like Indy, but with higher banking, which makes it a lot of fun. And the pit road is a bit different also. So I think me and David, we didn't really team up this time in regards to physics. We started talking about half an hour before qualifying. But if we do a proper debrief, I think our Wildcats can be pretty good. We have almost a bit of a dream team, I think, with me and David, and then Junt, who was absent today, but he's one hell of a driver, and in that third Wildcat also. So looking forward to that, and we'll try to join maybe the broadcast booth a bit more often, and in a bit more classes of cars also.
That would be really good and fun to have you join us more, and looking forward to what you can put up next time out. So thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations once again on your third place podium finish.
Thanks. See you around.
User left your channel.
Before we head off, let's have a quick look at the trivia question and what is coming up later before we sign off this broadcast. So, the question for you tonight was, which American actor and racing enthusiast won a sports car race on the Phoenix road course in 1970? Was it A, James Garner, B, Paul Newman, or C, Steve McQueen? Do you have any guesses on that one, Richard?
Well, I can try to guess. I don't know actually the answer to this one, folks, so I can try to guess, and I can try to guess C, Steve McQueen.
And that is correct. Congratulations, Richard. That is absolutely correct. Steve McQueen won a sports car race on the Phoenix road course in 1970. I believe that was the year before he first headed to Le Mans in 1971, if I'm not entirely mistaken.
I think he shot the Le Mans movie in 1970, so he was then, yes. So it was the same year even.
Oh dear. That shows how little I know about racing history in some regards, but certainly good to see that.
It's easy to mistake those years, Jonatan. Don't be so hard on yourself.
I suppose you could call it maybe a rehearsal for the Le Mans race then, for him to take part in that Phoenix sports car race.
Yeah, I would think so, yes.
So, for what's coming up, we have next weekend the Jaguar Intercontinental Challenge Silverstone, the one-make series Jaguar XJR 15 are these, I think?
Yes, 15.
Road-based or road tweaked cars from the Le Mans winning car that Jaguar made with the works from Tom Walkinshaw Racing. That will take place on January the 31st. And I believe, since Jason is racing, I will be back in the booth next weekend to cover this particular event. Then 2 weeks from
this, because
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry? No, I was just gonna say, don't miss this one because it will be identical cars and almost no setup options. In fact, no setup options besides, I think, tire pressures. So if you want to see these guys have a crack at it with identical machines, this is the occasion to do it.
And it's certainly going to be a close affair, just like it was here. Possibly even more cars actually fighting for the lead. 2 weeks after today, on February the 7th, we will see the Gran Premio Tío Pepe de España. The 1986 F1 Championship heads to round 2 in Spain for the Jerez track, where I believe that year's championship saw the closest finish in the hands of, as we can see on the screen, Ayrton Senna and Nigel Mansell finishing side by side, coming over the start-finish line.
That's true. I think that's still the closest finish in F1 ever. Okay, not ever, because I think maybe one of those races at Monza were closer, but sure.
I think the one Gethin won at Monza was actually a closer finish, but it's certainly one of the closest finishes in F1 that we have ever seen. And then 3 weeks from now, on February the 14th, we will be back USAC racing for the Datsun Twin 200 from Ontario Motor Speedway. Round 2 of this 1978 USAC Championship. And if today was anything to go by, that will be a cracker of a race.
For sure. I'm looking forward to watch that one again.
That's certainly something that I think we all will be looking forward to watching. But with that, I think we will be capping off this broadcast. So this is Jonatan Acerclinth. Thank you very much, Richard. Any final thoughts you have for this event before we sign off, actually?
I think it was a very good start for the season. It was great to see close racing, unpredictable results, and a race that actually resembled the real life ones, which is all that we strive for here at ISL. So I'm very happy.
It certainly should be, and it certainly was a very interesting one to watch indeed. So thank you very much, Richard, for joining me for this one. I know it was not as an early one as you may have wished for this joining up to be, but I'm very thankful for you for joining me, and thank you also to all our viewers on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed the show as much as both me and Richard enjoyed bringing the show to you. And apart from that, have a good night, take care, and see you all next week for the Jaguar Intercontinental Challenge Silverstone. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.